Mhm. Mm. Now, in Mark chapter 6, verse 6, he marveled because of their unbelief. And he went round about the villages teaching. And he called unto him the 12 and began to send them forth by two and two. Yeah. Gave them power over unclean spirits and commanded them that they should take nothing for their journey save a staff only, no scrip, no bread, no money in their purse, but be shod with sandals and not put on two coats. And he said unto them, In what place soever ye enter into a house, there abide till ye depart from that place. And whosoever shall not receive you nor hear you, when you depart thence, shake off the dust under your feet for testimony against them. Verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. And they went out and preached that men should repent. Now, this idea that you just don't believe that you have to enforce the laws. See, I've oftentimes marveled at your unbelief. I've shown you forgeries. Yeah. I've given you the evidence that I wasn't in swim. Yeah. I gave you the evidence that I wasn't in Brennan. Yeah. I had told you that I hadn't emailed any of the co-workers of my wife. Yes. I explained what the United Nations requirements are. Yes. In fact, yesterday, when I was uploading the videos that I made in the study room, I went to the United Nations website and I was looking for any additional laws that they had passed since the United Nations was the peacekeeping organization of Kosovo where we got married. Yeah. Now, it looks like they have actual prisons in the United Nations. Yes. And they have law enforcement in the United Nations. Peacekeepers. Yeah. Could you get me every employee of the United Nations and all the prisons? Yeah. Where they say that they have a judicial system where they appoint judges from other nations to kind of, well, adjudicate, yes, various litigation in the United Nations. Now, let's say you're a judge, you're from a different nation. I had seen that the United Nations protects children, yes. And considering our marriage certificate is from the United Nations, right, and I was wanting to divorce my wife, let's say, yes, that the judges of the United Nations, yeah, if they have any knowledge of the fraud of issuing a dissolution of marriage, yes, that has been used to kidnap my sons, I would sue every one of them. Now, this judicial system of the United Nations, I want to know every judge that has been employed in the United Nations, yes, to adjudicate all the international agreements of the United Nations, yes, in every nation that they've had a peacekeeping force, yes, where they could arrest a person for a crime. Now, let's say this United Nations right now, I'm going to want to know all the peacekeepers because I think that there was an obligation on the part of the United Nations to protect my sons, yes, from being abducted, oh, kidnapped, ooch, exploited, mistreated right now, and missing. Now, for every judge of the United Nations, where the United Nations moved in as the non-governmental authority, yes, they did that because of war, famine, or other types of strife in different nations. Yes, they did. And they set up a judicial system for the individuals that were residents at that time of them being the non-governmental organization. Now, for the peacekeepers, right, get me all of them in every nation of the world. I'm going to want to know who they are. Yes. And since they have arresting authority, yes, I do. Do I need to call the United Nations peacekeepers in the Tukwila motherfucking county? Now, it looked to me, yes, that the United States military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, yes, would not obligate the state National Guard to enforce the civil rights of American citizens. Now, for every person in the state national guard right now, if I need to use the peacekeepers of the United Nations to enforce the authority of the United Nations marriage certificate, it could be that I could sue the actual peacekeepers of every nation of the world. World.